I'm Deborah Hopkins, registered nurse and certified yoga therapist. In the nursing healthcare world, educating patients is important to help them manage their diagnoses. As a yoga therapist, educating clients to help support their provider's advice is just as important. I believe that when a client understands at least the basics of the anatomy and physiology involved in their condition, learning how the body optimally functions can also play a key part in healing or finding relief. Knowledge is power, yet not everyone has a background in medicine. Here on Intrepid Embodied Health, I'm going to do my best to simplify the topics presented so that the information I provide is accessible, fun, and interesting for all. This episode is an introduction to the breath, and in particular, breathing for better health. But before we delve into that, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of the human nervous system, meant for the layperson or review for the more familiar. This will be helpful for all of you intrepid embodied beings as we begin to explore embodied awareness. The nervous system has two main parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is comprised of the brain and spinal cord. Together, they read and transmit signals from our nerves, regulating how we feel, think, and move. The peripheral nervous system branches out from the central nervous system to carry messages from everywhere else in our body to and from the brain. This includes the skin covering our bodies, the muscles and bones underneath, the external appendages like our fingers, toes, arms, legs, and all of our internal organs like the digestive system, heart, and lungs. The peripheral nervous system is what I will mainly be referring to in many of the somatic and breath practices I offer. Under the peripheral nervous system, there are two branches you will become quite familiar with as I continue to provide new content here on YouTube. They are the Autonomic Nervous System and the Somatic Nervous System. The autonomic system controls all the unconscious functions in our body, like when you have an itch and you need to scratch, but you're not even thinking about it. These are the automatic functions that happen continuously in our bodies without conscious control, like the beating of the heart, our digestive system, and our excretory system, perspiration, sexual arousal, and to a very large degree, breathing. Within the autonomic system are two branches you will also become quite familiar with: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is well known as the fight or flight system. It activates when we sense stress and danger. Think about how you feel when you get startled or frightened, have an exam, are given some bad news, or you swerve to avoid an accident, or maybe someone pisses you off in traffic. I'm working on it. You don't feel good. And why is that? Well, that's because in stressful situations, the hormone adrenaline is rapidly released into the bloodstream. This causes pupils to dilate, heart rate speeds up, the breath becomes shallow and faster, digestion quiets. If you were to think about it in that moment, what you might notice is that you're breathing almost exclusively through your mouth, just using your upper chest muscles. And this is an unhealthy breathing pattern. The problem is, in today's crazy world with so many pressures, burdens, and struggles, many people get stuck in a sympathetic dominant state. Heart rate stays elevated, blood pressure rises, and over time, this can lead to cardiac disease, digestive problems, and maybe even inflammatory issues. And everything can just go haywire in your health after that. It's an unhealthy pattern that too often becomes habitual. The body has a built-in mechanism to counter that distress. And many of you have heard the term rest and digest, which refers to that parasympathetic nervous system. Once the stressor subsides, heart rate returns to normal. The breath slows and calms. We were never meant to stay in a state of stress. We're supposed to find a balance between these two places. And in between these two opposites is a place of equanimity or balance that we can connect to using holistic therapies such as yoga and breath practices. The somatic nervous system is the conscious function or movement that we manage or control by thinking about it. Although breath falls under the autonomic nervous system, we can control it and train it to improve our breathing habits through a breath work practice. Why is this information helpful? It is because we can exchange our dysfunctional breathing patterns for healthier ones. And it can take time, but by using the breath consciously, slowing the breath, smoothing it out, keeping the mouth closed as much as possible, and breathing through the nose. Also, by learning how to move the diaphragm while keeping the chest relatively still on both inhale and exhale, we can, in time, improve overall health and wellness. So join me for my next video where I'm going to introduce diaphragmatic breathing. And if you like this video, hit the like button and share and subscribe to my channel, Intrepid Somatic Health. We'll see you soon.